welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be my March marker review, and I'm going to be reviewing the Neopiko-2 markers by Deleter. Back in January when I did my Blick Illustrator marker review, I asked you guys to leave requests for different brands of markers that you wanted me to try out and review, and I got a lot of requests to try these out even though they're not a super common brand and they're really not easy to find. So I went looking to see if I could grab a set of these so I could try them out. Well, try them out. I've used them before but didn't actually own any at the time, so I did end up grabbing a set off of Amazon, and it took a really long time to get to me, so that's why I'm now doing this review in March. These markers have a chisel nib and a brush nib, which is really great because I know people are interested in mainly information about brush nib markers that are out there on the market. The nibs are felt, not like bristle fibers, because I always get asked that in other reviews. They are just a felt nib, very similar to the Copic marker felt nib. Apparently they're refillable. I have not been able to find refills for these yet, but I hear that they are actually refillable. I'm still looking for the refills, so if you know where I can buy them, because they're not on the Deleter website and I can't find them anywhere, you can leave me a comment down below, because that might be something I'm interested in someday. They come in 144 colors. The nibs are not replaceable, which is not the best, but you know. And apparently the color range in this full set is meant to correspond with the Pantone color system, which is kind of cool. I noticed when I first swatched these markers in my little sketchbook that the colors are really, really pretty. That's something I really liked about that. That's why I decided to include the swatching part at the beginning of the video, because I just thought that the colors were really beautiful. And let's see, they come in a variety of sets. The markers themselves are pretty difficult to find open stock anywhere but the Deleter website, which I'll have linked down below, and I'll have links to all the other things that I talk about in this video down below as usual, but I had a hard time finding them open stock. I'm sure there are places, and if you know places, let me know in the comments. But I bought the 72A set off of Amazon, but they come in sets of 12, 24, 36, and 72. So there's two 72 sets and then various other sets. So I grabbed the 72A set because that was just the most like basic, had the widest variety of colors that I wanted to try out. And I thought that grabbing one of the larger sets would give me a better idea of the types of colors that the marker sets provide. I almost grabbed a 32 set, but then I figured that I might as well just get the 72 set in case I do end up liking them and want to finish my collection, which I probably will. I'll probably grab the 72B set someday when it's not $1 million on Amazon, but I really liked these markers. As I said at the beginning of the video, this is not my first time trying them out. I actually used to own the full set of these markers back, it was almost probably 10 years ago, but Uzak, the place where I buy all my Copic markers from, which I'll link to down below as well because they're a great place to grab Copic markers. They have pretty good deals, but anyway, back in the day, Uzak used to sell the Neopiko-2 markers, and they had them open stock, and I remember them being sold there, and one day they just decided to, I guess, liquidate them out and not sell them anymore, and so they were all like 25 cents, so I bought the whole set. And I used them and used them and used them until they all died, because I back then couldn't get refills for them either, and I just really loved them, and so it was nice to actually get another set of these to be able to use them again, because they were really a joy to work with back then, and they were still a joy to work with now. I remember back when I used to use them that towards the end of their life they started to feel a little bit dry, but I'm sure that's because I used them to death and the inks were running out, and as I said, I couldn't find any refills for them. But the new markers that I got for this video, they just work really, really well. The ink is really vibrant and nice, and it flows from the pen well. It worked really well on the paper that I'm working on. I'm working on my Gina K cardstock, which is the paper that I always use for all my videos just because that's the normal paper that I always work on, and I want to give all the markers a, like, I guess, fair review. Since that's the material that I always work on, I figured that it's a good idea to make sure that I always use the same kind of paper for all my marker reviews so that I'm not like learning to use a new type of paper while I'm reviewing a marker brand. But they worked really well on this cardstock. I was afraid they were going to feel a little bit dry just because I remembered my old set feeling a little bit dry, but they weren't dry at all. They worked really well. They're very similar to the way my Copic markers work. I didn't find that the ink bled pretty much, or I guess, yeah, bled out on the paper when I was working on it. It did bleed through the back, or ghosted through the back, because they're alcohol markers, and all alcohol markers will do that because that's just kind of the nature of the type of marker it is. But the colors stayed in place where I put it down. They blended really, really well together. You can see how well the markers blended together, and I'm not really putting out that much effort to make them blend together. They just kind of do it on their own because that's what they're designed to do. They do work really well with Copics as well, so if you have some Copics and want to add to that set, they do play together really nicely. I did try them out on, I've kind of done a couple other things with these markers since I filmed this, but they do work really well with other brands. So if you're looking for like a more cheap alternative to buying Copics, like these markers, they still aren't cheap. They're pretty expensive. The 72A set on the Deleter website is about $200. I grabbed mine on Amazon for about $130, which is not too bad. It's about $2-3 a marker. That's not a terrible price, and the colors are really nice and they work really well. So I definitely recommend trying these if you're looking to like grab a big set of markers but don't want to spend quite as much as on Copics, because Copics are really expensive. But they do work really well with Copics and a couple other brands as well. Most alcohol markers tend to play nicely with each other, as like that's just kind of, they're all made of the same thing, so they all tend to work pretty well together. Overall, I am really, really happy that I decided to grab this set and try it out again, since I didn't have them anymore because I threw them away because they were really old. But I'm really happy that I now own another set of these because I'll definitely be using them in other videos. And I do recommend them, even though they are a little bit more expensive and they are really hard to find. But I will leave some links down below to where I got them off Amazon and some other links as well if you want to check them out and you're curious about them. Anyway, that is the end of this marker review. You can comment down below any other types of markers that you like me to review. I'm always looking for suggestions. I think I'm going to do some bullet nib marker reviews since nobody really likes bullet nib markers, but I really like them a lot. So if you have any recommendations for markers for me to review, you can leave a comment down below, and you can ring that little bell icon down there for notifications when I post new videos. Be sure to give this video a like, it helps to support me a lot, and subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you guys next week for another video. Bye!